Shooters Connection offers products for competition shooters by competition shooters. With over 80 years of combined competition shooting experience, Shooters Connection is staffed by master and grandmaster shooters who live the shooting sports every day. We offer same-day shipping. Shooters Connection also sponsors over 100 of your matches every single year. So when it comes to finding everything you need to compete as a beginner or a seasoned grandmaster, Shooters Connection is the only name you need to know. Online at shootersconnectionstore.com.
This is the Hit Factor podcast coming to you from Texas. Man, we are all over the country tonight. We have Texas, we have Maine, and we have Florida. And you guys are seeing you're seeing a bright, shiny face from Maine, which is Potato. Myself, if I look weird, it's because I have these weird glasses on, which are like, I don't know, I thought they were cool 20 years ago, and they're really small because I was running errands today, and I don't know where my glasses went. I had like sunglasses and my normal glasses, and I got out to go to one store, and I took off my sunglasses and went to put my normal glasses on, and they were just gone. And I went back to every place that I had been. Hey, have anybody turn any glasses or anything? No. So I can only half see because its prescription is 20 years old and they're tiny. So I can kind of see out of them. But we also have Jedidiah Morgan coming to us from Florida. You're not in Volusia, but you're very, very close to Volusia, right?
I'm in Volusia County. Yep.
Oh, you're in Volusia County. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm like 15 minutes, kind of northwest of the range that you guys have been to.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So if you guys know, there's a really famous dancer on YouTube who does, I think it's like called clogging. Is that what it's called, Potato? He does clogging, like he just dances with his feet, and he kind of he's like Amish or something. I don't know. But there's this guy named Jedidiah that dances, and this is not who we have on the show, but he's supposed to be learning how to. Jedidiah was in our house at IPSC National. He's supposed to be learning how to do that. So I don't know where you're at on that, Jedidiah.
I haven't made a ton of progress, but I'll be working on it for sure.
Okay, good.
Did you even look up the video?
Oh, I saw the video. That was the first thing Jeremy showed me when I got to the house. Like literally the first thing.
I completely missed that. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you guys hadn't gotten in yet.
Yeah, you missed out, Potato. So I just had this pistol smithing class at my place here, and the guy that came, his name's RJ Lentz, who came to help as an assistant with the class, lives like right there, like right. I think he lives north of Daytona, but he's right close by and teaches at a technical college there.
Oh, really?
Close by. Yeah. So,
cool.
Kind of crazy, small world. So, Jedidiah, you've been shooting for what, 2 years?
Yeah, USPSA. So my first USPSA match was, I think, February of 2022.
Okay.
And I mean, I'd had, guns a couple years prior to that. I didn't grow up with guns or anything, but, kind of just like the classic story of a Glock 19 for self-defense kind of thing. And just got more and more into it. So
were your first matches at like the Volusia range?
Yeah. So initially, like when I got my first gun, because I got my first gun actually after I had moved to Florida. So just, it's been 4.5, 5 years now. Was going out. There's this really kind of sketchy public range out in Ocala National Forest, and that was kind of like the initial place that I started going to. It's free. There's no ROs. It's super dangerous. I don't go there anymore. So my boss, I was getting into shooting, and actually my boss knew about Volusia. I didn't even know about it at the time. But he ended up getting me a range membership as kind of like part of a Christmas bonus, just because like he knew I was into shooting, and like,
oh, awesome.
just did that, as a gift. And then just saw those guys, I'd go out there Saturday mornings and I was like, what are these guys doing? Like, It's like, why are they pushing like baby strollers around and stuff? Like, what is this? So yeah, just ended up, I don't even remember how I found practice core, but just saw those guys out there and found practice core somehow and showed up to a local one day and been obsessed ever since.
So to be fair, we still don't know why they're pushing around baby strollers to go to a pistol.
Yeah, right.
We can be fair about that.
I think looking back on it, I think it was the Steel Challenge guys, but I didn't know that at the time. So
well, they've got 2 rimfire rifles and a pile of mags and everything set up for 8 stages. Yep.
Yeah.
So I mean, we could spend more. I mean, we could spend more time on like who is Jedidiah Morgan, but fast forward 2 years, and where were you at CO Nats last year?
Last year, placement wise?
Yeah.
Percentage. We don't do it with placement.
Placement and percentage.
I think I was like 87% or something like that.
Okay.
86, 87. Yeah. It got off to a bad. Sorry, what's that?
Don't let me interrupt you. Just keep talking.
Oh, no, just, yeah, I mean, I got off to a really rocky start on day one. Was not happy with my performance at all. But kind of brought it back day 2 and day 3. So ended up just barely improving on my percentage from 2022. But yeah.
Which was, you were 85% when you'd been in the sport for 7 months at nationals.
Yeah.
So I just want to, and I'm, we're not going to sit around and congratulate you all night. We've got hard questions too, but I just want to underscore that 85% after 7 months, 85% in a deep national field is a level that most shooters will never get to who go to multiple nationals. It's kind of a sort of a dividing line between, and that sort of 80 to 85% is where there's a real skill gap. And then obviously 90 and up, you're starting to think about winning stuff, but.
Yeah, I mean, 85% typically was in the past when we recognized top 16. 85% was usually about where that top 16 breakover would happen. So yeah, definitely if you're starting to get into that and doing that first nationals, like I know one guy who's done that, who's had a heck of a career, but I don't know too many who have done that. So,
well, now you know 2.
Now I know 2. Now into 2. And then you won. Did you win South Carolina? Or you were second at South Carolina this year.
Second.
Okay, yeah. Second. But you beat.
He
Jay
was the
Beal.
people's champ.
Yeah, you beat Jay Beal at South Carolina. And that was kind of like the first time I was kind of aware of Jedidiah Morgan, this wannabe clogger. And it's like, man, okay, he beat Jay Beal at a match. Like he's got to be good. Which Jay Beal's supposed to be here tonight, so everybody should be mad at him. He says he has goats that are kidding, and I think you should just give him just a bunch of crap for not being here because he should be here. So Jay, if you listen to this, I'm sure your kids could have taken care of those goats just fine. They would have been no problem. But I'm actually remiss because I wish Jay was here because Jay kind of was the newcomer, right? Like a couple years ago, he was only in the sport. He was real new. Now he's been in the sport like what 5-6 years now, something like that.
7 years this September.
Oh, 7 years. So that's old. That's old to be in the sport now, but.
With a 3.5 year average lifespan of a USPSA member, that is.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, I would have been curious to see the conversation between Jay and Jed, but oh well. Jay didn't put us at the top of his priority list. But then we go to IPSC Nationals, and I mean that's the first time I've seen Jed shoot. We're at the house. He's staying there, and he doesn't know anybody in the house. He has never met a single person that's in our house, and we're there chilling. And he walks in, and it's like, "Hey, what's up?" And so he has all these crazy people from Texas and Oklahoma to deal with. But so the interesting thing that I noticed about Jed, maybe this will kind of kick off some questions. So, like day before the match, like the first day of the match. We're shooting in the afternoon. We've got a space where all of us are kind of dry firing, and everybody's got the routine. I mean, Jed doesn't even have a routine at this point because he's too new to have a major match routine. But we're kind of out there dry firing. He's getting after it, and you kind of like, you peek over, like, just, you're mostly doing your thing, but you're like peeking on him, seeing what he's doing. And you kind of watch him a couple times, and he fumbles some mag changes and fumbles some draws, and he kind of looks like somebody who's been in the sport for 2 years. It's like, oh, okay, like, he's probably got some skills, but he looks like I would expect for somebody who's been in the sport for a couple of years. And then we get to the match, and it's like, okay, now this is match mode, Jed, and this is different. There's some sort of switch that gets flipped, and it was very impressive because you were first on the very first stage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
is that the first time you've ever gotten to shoot first at a major match?
I think so. Yeah, I think it actually was.
With the last name M, first name J, it's just not going to happen much.
I was pretty surprised. Yeah, it took me aback for a second.
Yeah, because I followed you the whole match in the shooting order, and you were in the middle of shooting the first stage when I found out that I was next up.
I remember you saying that, yeah, after the fact.
I had no clue. But your ability to bring, like, focus, like, you just seem to have most people, when they're 2 years in and they're at a nationals or a big match, and on the squad that we were on, I mean, we have national champions there. We have a lot of, like, normally would be super squad shooters there, a lot of really high level shooters there. And yet a lot of new shooters they're just going to kind of freak out, and you're going to see them buzz around, and they might land some good stages, but they're not going to put together a solid match. And Jed's ability to, I mean, just bring this intense focus, seemingly, at least this is from an outsider perspective, was really impressive. That was something I was like, man, this kid's got something. So is that just you, or do you have a process that you went through it, or do you just feel like, oh, that's not really how I felt?
No, a little bit of both for sure. I mean, I think that's definitely just kind of a big part of my personality in general. Just always wanting to kind of be over prepared, really like zoned in, like in the zone, focused, as prepared as possible, because it's like, go to these matches for a reason. It's like the only thing that matters to me at that time, for that amount of time is doing, giving it everything I got, basically, because why else am I there, Not to say that it's like, I mean, it's definitely still a good time, still having fun. But a lot of the fun for me comes from feeling like I performed to my ability, gave it what I had. So, I guess to answer your question, yeah, I mean, whether it's life experiences or whatever you want to call it, and what I do for work too, requires a lot of focus, a lot of attention to detail. So maybe that's part of it. I don't know, but sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying, and it's something I'm still working on, still trying to get better at. There's definitely had lots of up and downs in the couple of years that I've been competing. Beat myself up, whether that's justified or not, but just always trying to get better, always trying to take away lessons where I can to improve going into the next one,
So before we get into what you do for work and some of your other experiences that would sort of help contextualize your ability to focus and plan and sort of put pieces together, you also did or do some mountain biking, right?
Yeah, for sure. That was a huge part of my life growing up, for many years, from, small kid, like 7, 8 to, 20, 22, 23. That was pretty much my life. Yeah, for sure.
And so when you're mountain biking, what was your preparation before you would start?
Oh, for sure. I mean, and I see what you're getting at for sure. Yeah, it's because like visualization is not a new thing to me at all from from the other sports that I've done. So exactly like you're saying, when you're at the top of like a downhill mountain bike run or whatever, you're doing the same thing. It's kind of that classic like guy in the back of the squad with his head down, eyes closed. You can see him kind of memorizing every turn, every rock, every jump. So that's a very, very similar thing to shooting a stage for sure.
So
Very
you were
similar
mostly
ideas.
doing like downhill.
A little bit of
Type mountain biking?
everything, a little bit of everything, but yeah, like downhill mountain biking was definitely my thing, and
So you're
just
picking a line, you're going to feel all the turns before you turn them. You know what the timing feels like. You're sort of sensing your body in space. So it's not just vision, right? It's the whole
exactly.
what your
Yeah.
weight and your hands and your legs are doing and when.
No, absolutely. Yeah, it's I guess, and yeah, within visualization, that entails all of that is like being able to actually feel what it's going to feel like for sure.
So do you do that before you shoot a stage?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's like a first person, like this is how I want my feet to feel, this is how I want my hands to feel, all that
Can you
stuff for
feel
sure.
can you feel yourself like pushing aggressively out of a position if it's like you easy exit and then you're running?
Yep. Try to go through all that, all how those sensations are going to feel and all that for sure.
So okay, so I have a question. While you're shooting a stage and preparing for a stage and all that, what I was really impressed with was your ability to. I mean, your ability to shoot steel was like you shot steel. From what I remember, you shot it. I mean, I was the shooter right after, so maybe I didn't say everything, but you shot steel incredibly well most of the entire match, and you were able to shoot it aggressively. But you seem like like steel can cause people to panic, especially newer shooters. Like they just either they miss or they start missing, and they want to go super fast on it, but. Uh, yes, Jeff. Jeremy. I'm always impressed when somebody can shoot steel. Jeff's in the
comments saying that Jeremy's impressed when someone can shoot steel, and John Hedlund's in the comments saying I look like Marv from Home Alone, which is both highly unflattering and very accurate.
I got to turn off the chat so I don't get distracted. But I mean, as a newer shooter, I find that super impressive that you shot steel super well, but it wasn't like you just shot incredibly slow. Like I'm just never gonna miss on steel. So that, how do you feel like you keep that? Do you feel panic when you're shooting, like this urge, like to go really, really fast, or do you feel like things are happening kind of slower while you're shooting a stage?
Yeah. It's definitely been something that I mean, obviously, as we all do, still working through, still trying to figure it out. But I do feel like that's a main focus of mine, especially at a major, is just trusting that I've put in the work to be on pace, or at least close to on pace. Pace is kind of crazy. But yeah, just trusting the training and the time that I've put in, to see what I need to see, and trusting that the time will be there. Because yeah, the stages where I've gotten caught out and really turned it into a dumpster fire is exactly what you're saying, where I get ahead of myself. You're almost not even seeing anything at all, and you just start shooting off an index, then one miss, two miss, three miss, you panic mode. So yeah, I definitely have been there, but it's always something that I'm working on and trying to improve. But yeah, especially at majors, I'll experiment with different things at locals and stuff, but at majors, I really have been trying to just trust my training, see what I need to see, and trust that the time will be there. Whether or not that's the right strategy, still trying to figure that out. I still need to get faster, as we all do, but
I think
working on
that
it.
So
sounds like a great strategy.
how much urgency and how much panic do you feel like between make ready and your first shot?
It depends. As the day goes on and I get more warmed up, it becomes less and less and less for sure. I would say the most stressed out I feel is definitely in the first couple stages, where eyes aren't warmed up, you're not really fully there yet. But once I get going, that really starts to go down, and it especially if I get off to a decent start or a workable start, not a dumpster fire first couple stages, that's where I really start to feel, it goes from kind of that stressed out, worried feeling to like, all right, let's attack these stages. Let's do this, let's make it happen. So yeah.
So okay, so you've brought up training, like you're trusting your training. So then, what has training looked like for you? Let's just say the past like 6 months. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, really with work and the hours of the range, I don't live fire throughout the week very much. I can typically get out like one work day a week. But yeah, it's basically I try to dry fire 5 days a week. That doesn't always happen because I've definitely learned that like breaks are important too. I definitely don't want to burn myself out and get to where I'm just grinding through and not getting anything productive out of it. But yeah, I'll try to do 5 days a week of dry fire, which is typically like, 30 to 40 minutes ish at this point. I was doing more earlier on when I started, but yeah,
Okay.
30-40 minutes of dry fire 5 days a week, and then a few hundred rounds. Typically I'll shoot Saturday and Sunday, whether it's a local Saturday and then live fire practice Sunday, or just 2 live fire practices Saturday and Sunday of, occasionally I'll do a 500 round practice, but 500 is kind of like the max.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And I am asking you a question I know the answer to because that's more fun for me. And sometimes you do a live fire practice after a match.
yes. Yeah. So that's something that's awesome, is because my local is, it's like I said, it's like 15 minutes for me. So, and I'm a member there, so I'll shoot the local. And something I really like to do is, if there's a particular issue I'm having at the match, or like, something's not going my way or whatever, I like to go get on a bay after the match and try to work through whatever issue that was that I was having, which is something that I feel like is pretty beneficial, because I don't like to, and this is kind of maybe like superstition. I don't know. I really don't like ending on a bad note, whether it be a match or a live fire practice. So if I need to do something easy just to like get my confidence back up, like before I leave, like sometimes I'll do that just so I don't leave feeling too down about myself, if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah.
But
So this is the sort of thing that the longer I shoot, the less of an opinion I have, right? About how other people should manage their confidence. It's like, if that's working for you and you like the results, it's probably a pretty good process. For me, just because there's enough things out of my control, and like often I leave the range not because I'm done, but because I have to go do the next thing.
yeah.
So for me, it's like important to just be able to be like, all right, I'm done, pack up my stuff, and like good run, bad run, with a no shoot, with a bunch of deltas, doesn't matter, right? It's like time for me to go, and I'm just going to leave it as I drive away. But that's not because I think that's mentally superior. That's because I get a call from home and I have to leave, right? Like if I could stick around and like nail some close, fast shooting and like leave on a confident note, that sounds great.
Yeah, for sure. No, and it happens, I would say, honestly, more often than not, where I'm leaving on a negative note. But I'm just saying it's kind of a weird quirk of mine. Like I just just to kind of get that confidence back up if I was having issues that practice or that local or whatever. So yeah.
So why wouldn't you be confident? What are you worried about?
After, you mean just in general, or?
Yeah, I mean, like, what are you worried about?
Oh, the list is a mile long. I don't know. It's just,
Potato asked that question as if he's never shot a match of any kind and been like, oh man, I suck. Cause yeah, you have a couple bad stages and it just makes it feel like you're just terrible.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's a tough game. Like mentally, it's definitely one of the tougher sports that I've been into. Just because the margins for error are just so small. And in terms of, like the scoring system, right? Because it's like, two guys can have runs that look identical and it's a 15% difference. It's all just tiny, tiny margins for error. So,
I love that it's mostly newer shooters, but not only newer shooters. I love it when somebody is like, I was just X away from this, right? I was just one mic away from beating so and so. It's like, yeah, that's the point. Like, you shot the mic on that stage and they didn't, right? Or my current one, because I fell into this trap, and so I'm just talking about myself because it's fun for me here. But people, I get hung up on time. It's like, oh, I got to match the time of whoever the people to beat are. And if I'm competitive on time, then I can clean up the hits. But if you put out the right kind of stage, then the time is the hits, right? If you put a bunch of no-shoot head boxes, then if I'm level on time with a pile of Charlies, that just means they were aiming and hitting the credit card on the upper A zone, and I wasn't. I'm not level on time at all. I'm 3 seconds back if I shot those head boxes the way they did. But in my head, it's easy to say, oh, well, look at that, right? Like the number is just about the same. Now I just need to clean up the points. It's like, well, a lot of the times the points reflect the time and like the time commitment. And so it's, when somebody's blowing me out of the water on time and they have good hits, it's like just catching up on the time isn't most of the difference.
Yeah.
Anyway. Headboxes especially, right? Like you can save a lot of time just sending 2 at a headbox.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, but it's not going to pay.
No, not in minor. Not in minor. In
major. Yeah, y'all should try shooting major. It's great. I mean, besides the whole iron sights thing. Okay, speaking of, I mean, Jedidiah, so you shoot CO with a dot. Like, have you thought about transitioning over to like shooting a real gun and shooting major with irons, or are we stuck with a dot in minor?
Honestly, I like a buddy and we've toyed with the idea of shooting some matches in production. But I don't even own an iron sighted gun. So, yeah, I would have to set up a gun. So
we need to make
I'm
that
sure
happen.
at some point, I'm sure it would be good to actually learn how iron sights work. That'd probably help my shooting.
You might be an absolute animal with iron sights.
I think you would learn it really quick just based on your ability to learn, right? I mean, if there's one big skill gap that some people have is how quickly they can learn. But I don't think you'd have much fun shooting irons versus a dot. I mean, dots are so much easier. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, but Jed's not the kind of guy that likes easy. He likes hard stuff. Okay, so we just shot IPSC Nationals a couple weeks ago. I was just looking at scores. You finished 12th at 91, well, almost 92%. Like, so when I say that, is this like, oh, like I did great. This is, I've only shot a couple of nationals. Like, I did great. I'm happy that I finished almost 92% of Jacob. Or is this like, please stop talking about this because I wanted to win the match, and so I don't want you to talk about this anymore. It makes me mad.
So I definitely don't have delusions of having been able to win. But no, it's definitely day 3. I definitely dropped the ball on day 3. So it's a bit of a disappointment. I mean, overall, I feel like I performed fairly well throughout the course of the 3 days. But I was in a pretty good spot going into day 3 and just made a couple really goofy errors, really simple, dumb mistakes, and cost me quite a bit. So it's good because I can see the positive from it. But also disappointing just knowing kind of what I let slip through my fingers, So
what do you think you could have done something different to have a better day 3? Or is it do you think just learning curve?
Man, I think about it all the time. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, they really were just a couple of unfortunate mistakes. Yeah, I mean, 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to have those. I mean, the mic on the tucks inside the door. So you got, I don't remember what stage that was, 12? Because we
Yeah,
started
second
Stage
on
class
11.
13,
stage.
right?
Was
Oh,
that our
11,
second
yeah.
class
No,
stage?
no, it's stage 11, the bed stage. Ask Jeff about the mic on the tucks
Yeah.
inside that door.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So it's the exact same thing that happened to Jeff. So I just rushed that shot, transitioning to the bobber and dragged one into the hardcover, which cost me pretty big on that stage, obviously. And then yeah, just a really kind of ridiculous mic on an open paper on the stage before that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just totally unnecessary, but yeah, just kind of got ahead of myself, and it's one of those things. It's a good learning experience, you know.
So do you, when you think back about that and you regret it, like the tuxedo, it's easy to see, right? Your attention was dragged by the bobber, so you
Yep.
shot one good shot and you moved the gun before it went off for the second shot. Do you know what you were doing on the open paper? Were you just trying to get to the steel to stop the clock, or?
So I was trying to move it, so I drew to because it was like popper on the inside and then paper on the outside, and I was trying to move
up to
in.
the front port.
Yep, up to the front port in the middle of that kind of U-shaped stage. Yeah, so I drew to the popper and was trying to move out hard on the open paper, and just push one low. I thought it was going to be a delta, and I just accepted it and moved on, and it just wasn't there at all. So I just pushed it a lot lower than what I called. In hindsight, I would have just shot the popper and then split hard and then moved out. I think that would have been probably just as fast. I don't really feel like I even gained anything from trying to move out on that, to be honest.
That exact situation I think about a lot, right? With something that's relatively close and open. It's like, well, I can draw moving on it, or I can shoot it fast and move fast. And it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But I hope it's a delta feeling. I thought you had a genuine mystery mic on it. But like, I hope it's a delta feeling. That's understandable. Everybody shoots, I hope it's a delta, right? You're like, that didn't feel good, and you're like, man, I hope that's a delta.
Yep, it was.
And it's like your margin of error on that kind of shot calling isn't something that most people have conscious control over. It's going to reflect how long you've been shooting that day, like sort of how tired you are, where your head's at, like what your hydration's at, right? Because when you're really dialed in, like, where that was. And like when it's, I don't know. I mean, I feel like that's something too where that's going to happen more on day 3 than on day 1.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I mean, like you said, whether it's fatigue or whatever, but everyone else is going through that too. So there's no excuse. It's just something you have to deal with. So we take away those 2 mics, that gives you another 30 match points. How do you cover the rest of the delta? What's that?
We give you back those 2 mics. That's 30 match points. Okay. Right. So that gives you another 2% on the match. Where you get the rest of it? Where do you get the next 6%?
Oh man. There's so many things. I mean, honestly, the 2 movers, the 3 movers really. So I'm forgetting the stage numbers. I think one was stage 4 with the swinging plates.
Yep.
So I think in hindsight, I would have gone into that just planning 3 to 4 shots max and then leaving regardless. I think I ended up sending like 6 or 7. I hit one, I think, of my second shot. And in hindsight, I would have sent one more and just left. And that would have that was 4 to 5 seconds of just standing there. So that was a huge spot that I could have thought through a little bit better. I know we were having endless debates on how to approach that. To be honest, going into it, I really didn't have, and that's a learning experience too, of in that situation, trying to have a more concrete idea of how I want to approach that rather than just winging it and kind of making it up as I go along. So yeah, in hindsight, just knowing how to approach questionable movers like that and what I want my strategy to be. Obviously that doesn't cover the rest of the 6%, but just
and I mean that
probably covers 2% of it though. Honestly, that stage was huge.
It was huge. Yeah, it was a high point stage, and I wasted a ton of time standing there. So that was disappointing for sure.
I mean, Hetherington hooked up on it. because I think he posted that video, right? Like, did he go? It was like 2 out of 3, and he hit those
I
plates.
think so. Yeah.
It was something.
One was like a little clinger too, like it just
Yeah.
edged and dropped.
Yeah, and I mean, he very easily.
The stage winner, Jeremy Story, hit it in 2.
Yeah.
Impressive.
But the idea that you would have
Lucky.
Yeah, like the idea that you would have just skipped it and gone on, and like that's, hey, if I had more match experience or whatever, man, there were guys on our squad who have had all the match experience there possibly is, and that's just not, that's virtually a scenario that you're never exposed to. Of there are oftentimes you'll see a disappearing target where there's a debate: do I engage this or not?
Yeah.
But to have 2 targets where you're intentionally going to take 2 penalty misses, or maybe just one, and not try to shoot the completing challenge that's in front of you. That's not a challenge that we see almost ever. So,
if I think about how insane it is, like how poor my judgment is I believe I was last shooter on that stage because I was first shooter on the previous stage.
Mhm.
So I watched an entire squad of super squad level people, including a national and world champion, spend between 4 and 10 seconds going to war with that steel. And I got up there and I thought, I'll be fine. I hit it in 5. Like I went 2 for 5 on it.
That's pretty good.
I hit one plate on the 3rd shot, and then I hit the other one. I actually watched a complete exposure. That's how long it took me to shoot it. I watched a complete exposure and then hit it for the 5th shot.
Yeah.
To actually like get my eyes timing it. So I mean, there's like a 2-second gap or whatever when I take the last shot. But the absurdity of it just didn't register like on a visceral level that this was hard.
I remember talking to you when we first walked up to that stage, and I was impressed with your confidence going into that. I was not feeling the confidence, very much not so.
Well, you're clearly smarter about that stuff than me, but
I was definitely not feeling it after I was not watching Jay Beal. I could hear him because I was loading mags or something, and I went and asked him. I was like, "Did I just hear him shoot at those like 7 or 8 times or something like that?" And they're like, "Yeah," and he didn't hit him at all. And I was like, "Oh, okay. I need to rethink my strategy on this because Jay's an incredible shooter with a dot, and I had a lot less rounds and not a dot." So
I think Tilly shot them just by pulling the trigger really quickly with the dot in the middle because he sent 7 on it. But they were all like 35 splits.
Oh, nice. Okay. Okay, so are you more motivated by, like, are you thinking at a match, I got to catch and I got to beat these guys? So is it more that competitiveness with somebody else, or is it just self-improvement? I'm totally in my own world, and I want to make my own deal to go well. Besides, okay, it sounds like a plane's taking off. I don't know what's going on with that. Can everybody else hear that, or is that just me?
I can hear it.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, it's the fan from this computer over here heating. Hang on just a moment.
Let that thing heat up and burn your house down. It'll be all right. Jeff just said in the chat, which he may not have wanted this shared, but he said after seeing Jay shoot that stage, he said it was rough and is the most down he's ever seen Jay after a stage. And Potato just tried to avoid him. Yeah, that was Jeff. I mean, Jay is always such a positive, upbeat guy, and yeah, that was rough to watch. I
mean, we watched Nils do a standing reload in that position and shoot 11 rounds at it.
Right. Yeah, I think 11. Jay had to have felt better after he saw he was first up. He had to feel better if he watched the whole squad struggle.
Yeah. Tyler sent 7 at it. I mean, it's just yeah. But to go to that question, Jed, what's more motivating to you? Beating people, winning, or your performance?
My performance and how I feel about my performance is always first and foremost. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I'm not competitive, because I definitely am, and I
Oh, we
definitely
saw that.
want. I mean, I'm not delusional about where I'm at. Like I know where I'm at, but I also know where I want to get to. But yeah, first and foremost, self improvement. I want to be the best shooter that I can be. Um, but yeah, I mean,
That's a
winning is cool
disappointingly
too.
wholesome. Yeah, that's a disappointingly wholesome
Yeah.
answer. And you only addressed performance and winning. What about beating people?
I like beating people for sure, for sure.
And you do not have to drop names because you're a nice person, and we don't want you to have that hung around your neck. But are there specific people who you look at, and not because you think they're a great shooter, but because something about their personality makes you think, I want to beat them?
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Isn't that satisfying when you do?
Yeah, it's so fun.
So
Yeah.
if we made you pan your camera, would there be like a checklist of names on the wall like Jeff had?
Yeah.
Of people like, I'm gonna beat this person, and he crosses them off the list.
Yeah, it's like the fighter pilots in World War II
Yep.
with like the
Yes.
yeah. No, it's exactly like that. Yeah.
Good. I like to hear that.
So on the nose cowling of your work plane, you have all these names crossed off.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So okay, so short term, long term. This is a JBL question. So like short term, do you set yourself? So I mean, CO Nats is coming in June, right? So it's coming up super quick. I mean, are you setting yourself I want to finish at X percentage at X placement in the match, or do you set yourself more concrete, just personal goals of, I want to be this fast with no penalties?
More personal goals for sure. But I guess at this point, I kind of have an idea of, if I'm able to achieve those personal goals, kind of what that will do for me placement percentage wise. So it's more about personal goals, but I definitely I definitely think about where I want to be finishing, and the percentage I want to be shooting as well, for sure.
Okay,
So
let's
how do you
say
set those goals?
Um, I mean, I try to just be as realistic as possible, looking at past performances and kind of trying to see, what I think I could easily improve on, what I think is going to take more time to figure out. Um, but yeah, just past performances and what I think I can do better next time.
Man, you're being very wholesome. We want to see like the jagged edge, because you are a fearsome competitor. You approach competition with a singular focus that is rare and that is common among people who win big matches.
Yeah.
So
okay,
Jeff
so
go.
I think Jedidiah has a pretty realistic outlook on his shooting, and that he's not self-defeatist at all. He's not Mike Dixon out here, super self-defeatist, or Jeremy Reid from that matter. But he's also realistic on his strengths and his skills. So you finished shooting CO Nats. You shot a great match with, say, a couple not great stages as almost everybody, but you shot a great match. Where do you see that putting yourself?
Man, it's going to be a crazy one. I really don't even I don't even know. Yeah, I was actually talking to Saul a while back. Kind of two possibilities for that match. The way that match is going to go, which is either like an all out like sprint to the finish, like crazy percentages getting pushed, or kind of everybody's kind of just barely doing what they have to do, kind of thing. So depending on what that does to the percentages, I mean, to be honest, I don't even know how to answer that. I mean, I definitely feel like mid 90s is possible for me. But I definitely know what it would take to do that, and it would take me shooting a good match for me, a solid match for me.
Yeah. So what do you?
What
gotta
if you
do
shot a
between now
bad
and then?
match for you, but you
okay.
finished on 92? Is that happy or sad?
It would be sad. It would be disappointment. Just you know, disappointment in the result. Because it's like, oh, I have to wait another year to try again, kind of thing. But it would also be positive feelings because it's like, man, like if I can finish at 92 with a match I'm not even close to happy with, like that's that much more fuel for the fire for training and practice and all that. So it's like I try to use them both and try to, they both motivate me whether I do well or do poorly. So yeah.
So
He's very Jeff-like.
yeah, he is. And I mean, that's the homeschooled thing. We haven't talked about that yet. We'll get there. But okay, so
Has Jeff ever jumped out of an airplane?
nope.
Okay.
I'm pretty positive about that. So okay, to have that great match, you probably even know you've got like what, 2 months? What do you got to do? What are you doing between now and then, and what do you need to do between now and then to have that match?
Yeah, I'm asking myself the same thing, trying to figure that out. And again, like you said earlier, and this was something I was just thinking about this past week, is like I don't really have a good, like, kind of set program for myself leading into these matches. Like I don't really have a specific way I like to prepare.
Right.
But I mean, I'm going to continue to try to push speed. I definitely want to still get my times down a little bit more leading into that match. Because, I tend to make the same mistakes whether I'm pushing a little bit or not. So it's like I'd rather just push and gain the time. So I'm gonna do that probably for the next few locals, see what I can do. And then leading into nationals, it'll probably be bump my live fire up, maybe try to get out of work early here and there, and just add a couple more live fire sessions, and just up the live fire a little bit leading in. And then obviously dry fire pretty much stays the same regardless. So yeah.
So pushing speed in locals, what does that, like, visually, what does that mean for you?
Just try not to shoot like a coward. Like there's nothing to protect. Just use it as a less of a results thing and more of an opportunity to kind of see what I can get away with.
Yeah.
So give me more though. Like, so you walk up and it's a Volusia stage that looks like a lot of Volusia stages. So it's kind of flowy, sort of mix of like close and medium distance open, a couple pieces of steel. What are you doing to say I'm going to go faster than today than if you shot it 6 months ago?
Really just, I mean, obviously focusing on, like you said, like the flow of the stage, exactly what my movement's going to look like really getting what I think.
So your movement.
Yeah, so movement.
So you're going to find that time, like how you navigate the stage.
Yeah, so I mean, partly just always reminding myself to be as aggressive with the movement as possible, because sometimes I'll get lazy and you feel like you're giving it everything, and then you see an outside video and it's like I wasn't even trying. So really focusing on that and trying to push there, but also it's also shooting as well, like just accepting slightly less confidence inspiring sight pictures, and really trying to push and see what I can get away with. And again, just trusting my training, and seeing what I can do.
So when you do that, are you able to, like, I mean, invariably mistakes happen when you're shooting like that. At least they do for me. Maybe not you, but are you able to, like, give yourself, like, when mistakes happen, are you able to be like, okay, I'm not super pissed at myself because I recognize that was part of it, or when the mistakes happen, does it make you want to slow down?
That's yeah. That's a tough one for sure. Like it can definitely make me want to revert back to just doing, comfortable pace. Like, because it's like if I shoot comfortable, like, there's a good chance I can win the local, but it's like that's stupid. Like who cares? You know what I mean? It's like use this as a learning opportunity. So
well, the guy who's going to beat you cares, right? So the guy who's going to beat you at that local where you're pushing speed, he got out of bed that morning thinking, how will I define success today is I'm going to take down Jed.
Maybe.
No, really. No, absolutely. And nothing about the specific people at your locals. But if people who are racing at locals, that is how they think. They walk out there and they're like, what percentage of, Jay Beal, what percentage of Jed am I shooting today? And that's how they measure they're like, well, I didn't have a great match, but I was only 7% off Jed. So I'm doing pretty good, right? Like, they don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, no, that is definitely very, very true. I always
can you keep that out of your head if you go on to the last stage and even though you're not paying attention, but like you're basically neck and neck with someone who's never beat you before? How are you going to shoot that last stage? Are you going to stay committed to a process to push the speed, or are you just going to do enough to win and let him hang himself?
Man, you're asking the real questions now. I've been in that situation more than once.
You have? Interesting.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I'm probably going to try to win the match and revert back to doing what I know will win the match. But, yeah, I mean, it would make more sense to use that time for training, right? Because it's like those results don't matter. But I definitely do revert back to competitiveness. Like you said, I want people to have to read my name to find theirs. So,
and you know how you can always do it at a local? If somebody's chasing you, you do it on the classifier.
Right.
Because you don't care. So you can just shoot the points and it'll be an 85% or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to say that I'm okay with that. I mean, I'm at this point I'm pissed if it's not a 95 or better, but can't win them all. So
well, but I'm saying like if you just need the points and it's an old standard like 4 bill drill or something, right? 35 yard shooting. And then 2 one-handed bill drills, you're like, well, if I just shoot alphas, I'll be good enough. Absolutely. And this person cares. So
yeah.
Anyway.
Very true.
That's interesting. So you can't quite commit to it there.
Yeah, not always, because I definitely get competitive. So
Jeremy hasn't really shot local since 2019.
No. Nope, pretty much not. It's like an hour and a half drive to get to one, and I think they've gotten back then the one that was like an hour and a half away from me. The stages weren't driving an hour and a half or 3 hours if you count both directions. It was a lot of go here, shoot 8 rounds, go here, shoot 8 rounds, and that was kind of it. And so I didn't feel like spending my time doing that. I think they've gotten better. It's different people running it, so it's just harder with kids it's like, okay, I can go take an hour and a half off on my weekend and I can go shoot 400 rounds if I wanted to, or 300 rounds or whatever it is. Or I could take the time and go and take basically a day, be gone and go shoot a local. And I normally opt for just shooting rounds. But I think that's detrimental to me in some respects, but I also think, somebody new to the sport like Jedidiah, he said earlier he doesn't know what his routine is yet. Like he doesn't know what that is yet. He's just kind of going off raw talent, which we'll have to ask you at the end of the show if natural talent's a thing. But he doesn't know what his routine is yet, and so he can use these locals to figure that out. And at some point, I think he'll probably get to the point where the locals are just fun, get together, and it's less experimental and figuring things out, is my guess.
Yeah, but is it fun get together if there's 2 or 3 people? I know there's not 2 or 3 people yet, but if there's 2 or 3 people there who want to beat you, and so now you have to go and beat them even though you don't care? Because I could see that happening to you, Jed, right? Like I could see you getting to a spot where you're like, this feels like work. I've got to drive to this match that's okay, but it's not great. It's not going to be earth-shattering, and I have to win because I have to win because I'm a better shooter than these other people. So I can't just relax and have fun. I've got to dial in and win.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, yeah, it's tough. It's tough, and maybe I'll get to a point to where I can do that. But yeah, I'll be honest. even just a local now, it's really all matches, as crazy as this may sound, all matches kind of feel the same to me because I put so much internal pressure on myself. Like you mentioned earlier, and I wasn't sure how this was going to go for me either. Like squatting with you guys, I was like Nils, Jay, Jeremy, Jeff, Saul, like all these guys I've heard about, followed since I got
Nobody's
into
heard
shooting.
about me,
Like,
but that's okay.
I had heard of you through the podcast, and I'm sure I've seen you around and stuff, but
I don't think you've ever read that far.
yeah, but going back to your question, like, yeah, I wasn't sure how that was going to go, but to be honest, so much inward pressure that it kind of just all feels the same, to be honest. Which I think has helped me. I think the fact that I can feel that much pressure at a local has actually helped me to improve. Because it doesn't feel too much different. Shooting, whether it be like an area match or nationals or whatever, it kind of just is all the same.
Yeah, I
So I think about
I can relate to that.
Maybe that'll change, but
So I mean, at that point, it sounds like nerves are still a thing, but it sounds like nerves probably aren't super detrimental to your shooting. But maybe like the nerves almost help you hone in and focus more.
yeah, I think the nerves can. I think what's detrimental is kind of is the just getting warmed up, and not trying to shoot at the pace that I visualize being warmed up at for my first couple stages, if that makes sense. Because that's gotten me into pretty serious trouble in the past of like 2 mic, 2 no shoot, my first stage right off the rip. And it's like, just, eyes aren't warmed up yet. Hands aren't gripping the way they should be. And you revert to shooting by index. And it's like, that can get you into trouble real quick. So.
But what if you have that feeling and you go out and it's a stage win that holds up for the whole 3-day match?
It's definitely happened. Well, maybe not at a major, but that's an interesting thing too, because I can have my best stage on my first stage and my worst, and I really haven't figured out my process there and why that is. Still working on it, still trying to figure out.
And I don't do this either, but I see some people do it. Have you thought about a more extensive sort of physical and gun handling warm up at the safe table? Like really dialing in, like snapping your vision around, snapping your gun to places.
Yeah, I've been playing with that. I've tried to find a routine that kind of gets like my focal depth, work in and all that stuff. But I haven't found anything that really replaces that just initial, sweaty palms feeling. But still working on it, still trying to figure it out.
Especially of the gun actually going off, even in matches where they give you a practice bay and you can go and sort of shoot a mag and everything feels fine. Somehow the gun feels different.
Oh, for sure.
For me, for the first stage, really just for the first stage. And it's like, and at the end of the first stage, I remember, basically I'm good at this. But the first couple shots, it feels strange.
100%, and it's crazy because even like this last weekend, like shooting a local on Sunday, and that's after a 400 round practice on Saturday, and the first few rounds of the first stage, it's like, have I ever shot a gun before? This is crazy. What is this crazy explosion in my hands? Like,
that's me at every first stage of every match I've ever shot, I think.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap this up pretty quick, and I first want to say,
not. We're gonna push out for at least another 15 minutes. We haven't even talked about jumping out of airplanes.
That's where we're headed. But before we get to there, I first want to say, like, it is somewhat refreshing to have a guy come into the sport who's new to the sport but does incredibly well, shoots incredibly well. But it's great to hear him like not come on here and just try to be like, I have all the answers and come pay me and sponsor me and do all sorts of stuff. Not that you're not looking for sponsors, you may very well be, but you're not trying to come in here and act like you're already this guru. So I find that refreshing. But we've talked about like nerves, like getting nervous, sweaty palms and all that, and how you deal with that. And I feel like you must deal with it fairly well. And we haven't talked that, what you do for a living. If I can say, like, you do testing and evaluating, and for making parachutes, right?
Yeah, so that's part of the job for sure. So I work for a parachute manufacturer, and it's a small enough office, home office here in Florida, where everyone there kind of has to do a little bit of everything. So essentially, what we're doing is we have an engineer. He's designing prototypes in CAD, and then we take that CAD, cut the pieces out, put everything together, kind of troubleshoot, because things can be perfect in a CAD and not come out and go together exactly the way they're supposed to be. So basically, R&D process of a prototype, build it, sew it. So my job is a lot of sewing, a lot of working with my hands, and then as well as jumping. So jumping is a smaller part of my job now. I'm more in the office, but yeah. So
when Jed says jumping, hopefully he's not jumping off a small box,
and
jumping into a pad. He's flying a plane up, way above the ground and jumping out of an airplane.
Or rotary winged aircraft.
Yeah. Helicopters, balloons.
Oh, helicopters
whatever
or balloons. Okay.
Hot air balloons.
You wouldn't do any of that for test jumping. Test jumping is just a standard skydiving airplane. There's a lot of different types of aircraft, but yeah.
What does your make ready routine look like when you're next up to jump?
So for sure. So it's not so much like next up, but there's kind of a few different phases, right? So it's like, and it's even more unique with our job than just being like a normal, like, fun jumper or work jumper that's just jumping an already proven parachute, because it's a kind of a lot of phases. So there's a whole final inspection process for the parachute once it's put together, to go through, make sure that everything's stitched properly, everything's put together, there's bar tacks in all the proper places. So you're going through doing kind of a final safety check on that, then rigging it up, connecting it basically to the risers, which are like the connection, how it connects to the harness, making sure that that's all correct. And you're getting, we're all double checking each other throughout the whole process. It's a good rule of thumb to always get somebody to look over your work for sure. Just, fresh set of eyes. So go through, make sure the parachute's good. Packing the parachute, it's pretty straightforward. Like anyone that's been jumping for any amount of time can generally pack, with a few exceptions. But so you pack it, and then there's equipment checks basically at a few different steps. So it's like I'll check my equipment before I put it on. So go through, check all my pins, which, a lot of this terminology is kind of irrelevant, but go through, check the rig, put it on, make sure it's put on correctly. And then you check it again before you get on the airplane, and then one more time before you get out of the airplane. And that's kind of the rule of thumb. But as you get more experienced, you kind of, it's like anything, you develop your own little process, your own little quirks and things that you have to do to make yourself feel safe. I'm kind of like a little bit extreme, where it's like I've almost become like paranoid, to where it's like I'm like the OCD guy, like checking that the door is closed like 10 times, but I kind of do that with my equipment, just because if I'm feeling nervous about the jump or whatever, it's just that little peace of mind to like, okay, no, you've done your due diligence, everything's proper, now it's time to just go do it.
So how much of that process can you steal for the much lower stakes of running around with a gun and blasting cardboard?
Man, you say lower stakes, but I feel way more relaxed going and making a jump than I do, because I care about shooting, and I care about the results so much.
But his life it's like, it's okay. If I splat on the ground, it's like no big deal.
He's got another parachute, and he's got all kinds of ways to cut him away, and he can fix them in real time in the air. Nothing bad's gonna happen. It'll be great. It's not like hang gliding.
Yeah, I mean, there are nerves, and it depends. I mean, people compete in skydiving too, which I'm sure is a whole nother level of paranoia. But yeah, it's No, it all applies. I have similar little mental quirks for both sports for sure.
Okay,
So what's at stake with shooting?
Hold on. You've jumped out like what, 3,000 times out of a plane?
Ish. That's super rough
Ish.
number. I quit logging a while ago, but yeah, it's around there for sure.
And you've had to you gave us the stat that basically a parachute's going to fail about 1 in 1,000 jumps, is what you told us.
Yeah, so that's just a super rough average. There is no real way to predict that, right? So it's like you could go out and a brand new student on their literal jump one. I mean, it's random. You could have an issue jump one. You could go, I've heard of guys going 7,000 jumps and never having a malfunction. So it's really, it comes down to like how well you're packing, how well you're maintaining your equipment, whether or not you're allowing other people to pack for you. There's a ton of variables, but yeah, the average is probably about 1 in 1,000.
And you've gone to your backup how many times?
So like in my own jumping, only twice.
Okay.
And then the third one was really not a big surprise. It was a parachute that was a little bit questionable. Felt good about it, but it turned out to not be good. So that one was kind of, I don't really count that one. So really, I say 3, but it's like in my mind, I've only had 2. So I'm a little bit better than the average. I'm 1 in 1,500 ish.
I'm going to translate that back to a world I understand. That jump was like half the open shooters I know going to the match.
Yeah, right.
Right, like they think it's going to work.
Yeah.
They want it to work.
Yeah.
There's some evidence it might not work. It didn't really work the last time, but maybe it'll be different.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm curious, like the panic level of, okay, I've got to cut this shoot away and I've got to go to my reserve shoot. That versus, I don't know, say a stage like the baseball stage at Nationals where you've shot everything, you've run around, and the port has not opened and it's just pure panic. How do I get back there? Like, what's happening? Or another stage where, you have a dumpster fire and it goes like, is that a similar, like, is that a similar adrenaline dump, panic dump, or just totally different?
It's honestly kind of similar. But I think it all depends on your experience too. Like, I mean, the first time you have to cut away a parachute is definitely nerve-wracking, especially if you've gone, 1,000 jumps or whatever without having to do it. It's almost easier, I feel like, in some ways, to have had to just get it out of the way early on. Because, guys that go a long time without ever having anything happen, it's like, man, I just want to get this over with, like this is going to be crazy once it finally happens. But at this point with like the jumping experience that I have, it's a similar sensation for sure. Cause it's like, it's scary. It's frustrating. Like you don't, you're a little bit confused. It's kind of all a blur, but it's similar feelings for sure.
That's interesting. I feel like there's so much to that we could dig into as far as the parallels and jumping and all that. I think I kind of want to tease it at the end because we'll have Jed, definitely have Jed on in future shows. I think guys will probably have questions about parallels between shooting and jumping and all of that.
I also think though, like you can't undersell the mountain biking. Because the ability to plan something and then execute, and and it's kind of a non-reactive sport where then like contingencies happen, but you're not playing against other people in real time. I mean, one hopes. So I mean, I think, and I'm gonna guess that you probably brought a same level of energy and seriousness and intensity to that.
For sure.
To shooting.
Yeah, for sure. It's I didn't compete in mountain biking. That was always just something I did for myself, but took it every bit as serious. And absolutely.
And I think that experience gives people a huge leg up, right? So if you know how to, so this is Jeff's age-old question of, do you believe in natural talent? A, and B, how did you get so much of it?
So, yeah, I've actually listened to that podcast where those guys were debating that. I thought that was funny. That's a tough one. I mean, I definitely think that people are born, whatever you want to call it. Faster vision, faster processing abilities. Like I definitely believe if you take two people, with similar life experiences, one is just going to have a little bit of a leg up at certain things. Just, it's like, why was Mozart as incredible with music as he was? Like, was that based on his upbringing?
No, he didn't earn that. Yeah, he didn't earn that, right? Like, that wasn't his hard work.
Yeah,
right? Like, that was there.
So what is that? And does that same, do those same ideas apply to other sports? And I think the answer has to be yes, for sure. But then on top of that, I absolutely think that life experiences and things you've been exposed to and your comfort levels with certain types of pressures and things like that, I think that all applies as well. So I guess yes to both. And I think it's a mix of both for sure.
He's so politically right. I take it back.
He is.
He's looking
Jason
for
Bradley. If Jason Bradley were still here, he would stridently disagree with you.
Yes,
about both. He would say no to both.
I mean, I'm being 100%. Yeah, 100. That's just. Yeah, I think it's both for sure. I think people are born with natural abilities, and you can have a leg up just based on your childhood and what you've been exposed to and experiences that you've gotten to, that you've been able to have.
How quickly into shooting did you know you were going to be really good?
Well, I don't know if I qualify as really good or if I know
we'll go ahead and say that people who are finishing in the 90s at national events qualify as really good, right? So we'll just use that as a baseline assumption. So how soon into shooting did you realize I'm good at this?
I mean, I definitely started to see what I would be able to do a couple months in, I would say, maybe a month in. After, maybe like 3-4 locals, I was like, man, this might be something that I can really learn to do. And then and that's another thing, like with other things that I've been into, like I'm not a stranger to understanding like the commitment level and the amount of hard work it takes either. I'm not delusional when it comes to that because, the other two sports that I've done throughout my life, it's like you get out of it what you put in for sure.
Yeah, I mean, lots of people want to be good at shooting. Not lots of people want to dry fire when they don't feel like it and want to really rigorously look at their own failings and not just practice the stuff that they're already good at that feels good. Jeremy, how long did it take you to figure out you're going to be good at shooting?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's somewhat similar. I mean, my first year, it was such a just a money and a time commitment thing that it was kind of like, yeah, I want to be good, but I don't know that I don't know if I can commit the time and the money to doing this. So, my first year, I would probably say I wasn't, there were some guys in my club that were really good. And it was like, man, it'd be cool to have the resources and have a place to practice to get good. And then kind of after I kind of got access to that, got a new press where I could not, like my first year was all in a single stage. First 10,000 rounds were on a single stage press. That wasn't going to cut it. And then kind of after I got stuff, it's like, okay, yeah, I think I'll be able to be decent at the sport.
Jeff says he didn't know he was going to be good till after he beat Jeremy. So
yeah.
So 3 years in for him.
Right. Okay.
We do need to shout out the shout out that's in the chat from John Hedlund for Shane Botke. And I'm going to say Shane Botke. I doubt that's how it's pronounced, but I'm going to call him Shane Botke, a.k.a. Cowboy Friend on Reddit and Discord, for a great job putting on the Yeet Cannon Invitational. Many a malfunction and much fun was had. And my belief is they should film the Yeet Cannon Invitational and show it every year at Christmas.
Just put a montage of all the malfunctions that happen. Oh man. Yeah, Jed, it's been great having you on. If you guys have questions for Jed or anything like that, I'm sure we will have him back on in the future. As you can tell, he's
If
a
you
great
know
guy to
him, bully
chat
him
with.
into coming back in the future.
Yes. Yeah. He'll have to come back on. He's not gonna have a choice. We're gonna make him.
I
Uh
really appreciate it. Hopefully some of what I said made some sense. I don't know.
no, I think it's really refreshing to hear from somebody who hasn't is not in the sport and all jaded. So I have one last question. I have one last question for you. We can make it kind of quick, and we can't let Potato go on a rant after it. But do you see yourself? You're going to be a 3 to 5 year guy, and then you think your interest will move on, or do you think you're going to be here 10, 15 years?
That's it's something I've actually thought about a lot.
Yeah.
Because yeah, because I do kind of have an obsessive personality, which tends to make me get into things, go extremely hard, be very obsessed, and then burn out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually really putting a lot of thought into how not to do that with this sport because it is something I really want to do long term because I think you can really make a lot of gains, obviously, the longer you're in this sport. So I want to stick around. I really do, and
Okay.
I'm actively thinking about how to continue to push hard and work really hard and try to accomplish my goals and not burn out. So
Yeah.
I'm sometimes forcing myself to take time away from the gun, just like clear my head and yeah. So
I
yeah,
mean, that's cool to
John
hear
Hedlund
because
suggests making random moves to dying divisions will also
yeah,
help.
right. Yeah,
So
come to single
revolver and
stack.
single stack.
Yep.
maybe. Yeah, I wanna put a few good years into carry optics and then maybe who knows, maybe I'll try something else. But for right now, it's just laser focus on one. So
Well, that's good to hear because I mean, I've seen too many really talented shooters that yeah they don't think about that and they go so hard, their first 3 4 years, and maybe they even win a nationals and have that great success, but then it's kind of what next, and they hadn't put any consideration of that, and they flame out. So yeah, it's great to hear. I hope that you are a guy that sticks around for the long term and we can figure that out.
Or you'll take over some other hobby and that'll be cool too, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's nothing wrong with people selecting in or out. Like,
No.
I'm not the big tent practical shooting. Everybody needs to like this. This needs to be a popular sport. Like, I think if people are getting what they want from it, they should stick around. And if they're not, like, people get really tortured and angsty. See, this is the rant Jeremy didn't want me to go on. People get really tortured and angsty about, like, should I, shouldn't I? Like, I'm not enjoying it anymore. I don't even know why I do it. It's like, well, quit.
No, I
yeah,
mean, no, yeah, it's not that. It's just more that I love when there's competition at the top, and then when the talent's deeper. The deeper the talent pool is, the more interesting the sport is, and so that's my main motivation for that.
That's why I
yeah,
really hate all the new games springing up. Not conceptually. I'm really happy conceptually. Other things are out there. But it's like, I just don't want to be New England's best,
Yeah,
potato factor,
yeah,
17 gun champion, right? Like, it's
yep. So, all right, well, if you guys have any comments, questions, hit us up. Join the Discord. Jeff needs to pay for. He needs to buy a new lake house because he's finished his one raccoon crack house. So he's trying to grow his empire. So he needs Discord money for that. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, join that up. If you have any questions or whatever, let us know. And we have a new sign off, and it comes from Jeff's kid, who sent my kid a video about some homemade slime. But it is we're gonna sign off now with "Break It Like a Biscuit."